He was the driving force behind the establishment of the Catholic Forum, a regular event organized by Mr. Lucci's lay Dominicans to facilitate growth and understanding in the Roman Catholic faith through various talks and discussions, where he was himself a regular speaker. He is a faculty member of the International Viktor Frankl Institute in Dallas, USA. He lives in Surrey, where he continues to work his own private practice as a psychologist. He is active in the treatment of problems on the borderline of theology and psychology. He is the author of The Mystery of Christian Faith, The Tangible Union with the Invisible God, and Flawed Institution, Flawless Church, a response to Pope John Paul II appeal for critical self-evaluation of the Church. He is married to a beautiful wife, Martha, who is also a member of Mysteria Lucis chapter, and he has several children and a large number of great children. His talk is entitled With Biblical Principles in Protecting Creation. Dr. Paul Ungar.
I will start there where Mark stopped and end there where Father Gabriel stopped. So let's start with the Christian radicalism. What would that mean in practice? Pope Francis in point 76 made a difference between the protection of creation and protection of nature. Creation and nature are not synonyms. There are overlapping things, but not synonyms. A Jesuit, a well-known Jesuit theologian, Teilhard de Chardin, defined in 10 points the differences between creation and the nature. I'll not list all the 10, don't be scared of me, but only the main points. Where is a creation, there must be a creator. Where is nature, there is no creation, but natural laws. Where is a creator, there must be a meaning and a purpose. There are natural laws, there is no meaning and no purpose, but everything is meaningless. Where is a creator, there is a hierarchy of creations, but in the nature is an equality of meaninglessness. So natural laws have no meaning. Only a creator can give a meaning. The word meaning is a quotient which measures how my contemporary activity contributes to an ultimate goal. If there is no ultimate goal, nothing is meaningful. Even protecting life has no meaning, and even protecting the planet has no meaning. Nothing has a meaning if the creation has no ultimate goal and purpose and value. So, let's see how this works in the practice. In my backyard, there is a pine tree and pyramid cedars. There is a merciless and never-stopping fight between them. Who will take more air and more place and more ground and more water? Who will grow? Who will survive? In the nature is a permanent fight for survival. In the creation is different. I know if I get a stroke in 3 minutes or in 1 minute, you will not steal my watch and wallet and whatever. No. You will immediately help me. This is the difference between the human society and the natural laws, between the fight for survival and the survival of the fittest. regulating the nature. How this works in the practice and how this cognition, whether we accept one or the other, influences our way of thinking, I would demonstrate with an example. In 1,000 years ago, everyone could see God's action. Everyone could see God's providence. People looked at the sun and they saw how it moves around the earth. So we were in the middle of the creation and everything turned around us. It was a symbolical message and sign that yes, God is the provider. Yes, God is taking care of us. Yes, God put us in the middle of the creation and we are the center and everything is turning around us. After Galileo's time in 1633, the whole thing turned around. It was not a discussion, an astronomical discussion in 1634, but as Cardinal Bellarmine noted in his notebook and later in his book, it was about approaching life and universe and existence. If we are not in the middle of the creation, if not everything is turning around us, metaphorically at least, then maybe providence doesn't exist. Then maybe even the good Father doesn't exist. And Cardinal Bellarmine saw what will happen in the next 400 or 500 years. Humankind distanced itself from the creation, and we don't today experience that God has put us in the middle of the universe, that He takes care about us, that we live in an intimate union with Him, and that nothing is closer to us than God. Yes, the astronomical facts changed. Today, astronomy perceives the Earth not as the center of the universe, but one of the foci in the universe, where billions and billions, known and unknown cosmic influence come together and enable life and enable all existence. However, the collective mind, the perceiving that we are in the middle of the creation, of God's creation, didn't change, but we perceive ourselves as a meaningless and worthless and unimportant happening in the universe. If we start from this perspective, then it's easy to understand what a Presbyterian minister named Holmes Rollston wrote in 1996. He wrote, "Feeding people always seems human. However, just feeding people without attending to larger social issues of climate change could be feeding a cancer. Yes, in his understanding, we are the cancer of the planet." This is what he wrote in 1996 in his article, "Feeding People versus Saving the Nature." Saving the nature, in his understanding, is more important than saving humankind. So, obviously, he didn't read Thomas Aquinas, who wrote, "All creatures are indispensable and are contributors to functioning of the universe as intended by God. However, God communicated His goodness not equally to all creatures, but He communicated it to varying degrees to His creatures. With other words, I'm not assuming, but I know that I am more the object of God's love than this table. I know, and you all know, that we are more the objects of God's love than the stones and the rivers and the mountains. And we are even more the objects of God's love than the woods and the seas and the birds. Since the Old Testament times, we are in the middle of the scriptures. And Jesus didn't come, he was not incarnate to teach the birds and the fishes, but to teach humans. And Jesus worked only with humans. And he gave his life for all salvation, and not, or much less, for the stones, or mountains, or birds, or fishes. So yes, in a biblical perspective, humans are in an eminent way the executors of God's love, and we are endowed with with a special attention by God, and we enjoy a special love of God. Yes, we are elected in some way, more than the fishes and the birds and the animals and whatever living creatures, to execute and to take care about the creation. So, being an environmentalist and being a radical environmentalist today means awareness and knowledge that yes, I am God's object of love in a special way, not equal to that of fishes or birds or other animals. It means taking the responsibility for protecting the creation. It means taking a responsibility in fighting climate change. Now I will come back to Father Gabriel. Economy is regulated by regulations. Even politics is regulated by regulations. But are those regulations successful? No, I can tell you from my own perspective that the number of suicide is doubling. The number of divorce is tripling. The number of drug abuses is quadrupling. And I can continue with depressions and so on, which are quintupling, and so on and so on. There are perfect regulations in power, but the long we don't change, the long we don't return to a pre-Galilean connectedness to God, and perceiving and accepting our responsibility, I assume that the mental health will not produce and not be proud on exceptional success in treating drug addicts. No, they will exponentially multiply. So yes, Father Gabriel was absolutely right. There is only one way to save the planet, and there is only one way to save the society, and there is only one way to help people. And that means respecting and realizing what Jesus revealed to Mark in 12:29-31. And that's it. If we don't love the Lord our God with all our heart and all our strength, and if we don't love our neighbor as ourselves, then all our environmental discussions are not radical enough. I will say something very radical now. I didn't attend, and I didn't hear, and I don't know what Greta Thunberg told 3 days ago, or 4 days ago maybe. I'd heard from second-hand sources. She told that she is not interested so much in environmental protection as much in establishing justice, in fighting discrimination, and in establishing social justice. Yes, this is also our purpose, And without establishing a social justice on the earth, also the environmental problems cannot be solved, but the precondition is return to those God's Jesus commands written in Mark 12, 29, 31. Now I will ask a difficult question. What will the future bring? How we can imagine that our life and our planet will look like? St. Augustine wrote, God would not allow anything bad to happen if something good wouldn't come out of it. So is there anything good that could come out from the environmental crisis we are living now? As a religious person, I'm optimistic. I'm not scared. I'm not anxious, and I don't panic. I trust God. And I think this is our solution to environmental crisis. Realizing this, what is written there, on the one hand, and on the other hand, to act. How can we act? On the one hand, by saving the nature, that's evident. On the other hand, by trusting the technique and technology. In the office where I worked, there was a gigantic oil spill. And then the secretary brought a solution with bacteria eating the oil. It disappeared like this. So yes, the technology can save many things. My second neighbor is working in Los Angeles. He's working for 1 week, then for 1 week he's free. He has an electric car. Not that the electric car is driving itself on the highway, it is not yet so perfect, but he's traveling back and forth free of charge and environmentally perfectly healthy. Way. He's not polluting, even producing even CO2 or NO, nitrogen oxide. So yes, there are ways to save the environment, and technology will help us in this. And it is today possible to build completely energetically efficient houses with renewable energy, but it costs only one thing. Money, 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 and money. Yes, it is easy to be very environmentally friendly in Norwegian. Yes, they are producing enormous quantities of oil and selling all around Europe. Yes, they have a population of 5 million people, which is rapidly declining. There is a fantastic demographic tragedy occurring there because there are no children. There you can, then they have money to be environmentally almost perfect. But try to do this in India or China, where the air is so bad. I was there, and people are carrying masks on their face in China. And even in Korea, where they are investing a lot of money, but even there they have masks on their faces. So, yes, we need money. The third thing, and the most important thing is, let us not lose our trust in God. God is with us. And this is I assume, at the very beginning, and the most important message of the Pope Francis. Yes, God didn't forsake us, and He will not abandon us. And He will help us to overcome even this environmental disaster. So let us not be anxious. Let us not be scared. Let us not panic. No, no, no. Let us act. And then we can trust that God will help us. Okay. What can we, very simple and not very rich people, do for the environment? I will answer with an anecdotal story. You know, Jeanne d'Arc was put on fire on the stake. And there was an ant crawling and seeing what is happening to her, and he was taking a drop of water in his mouth. And then an eagle saw the ant on the ground